Perfectly. Thank you. I think we could probably call it to order safely. I don't know as people come in, we can chime in. So 6:05, 6:04 is what I see on my clock. Welcome everybody to this month's edition of the Economic Development Committee. Lori, do you want me to take roll for you?
I'll do it. That's fine.
Go for it.
So I will start with you, Chair Gabe Martinez,
Present.
Eric Lawson,
Present.
Jacqueline Hunt. I see you, you're muted. And I don't see Lisa Butler.
Present.
Yeah. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Present.
So I will keep my eyes open for Lisa, and your ex officio this evening is Counselor Trista Papin. Thank you. And Lisa is just popping on right now, so give it about 10 seconds and you have the floor, Gabe.
Thank you. Perfect. I don't see any notes in terms of public comment. So thanks for those who are joining the call. Looks like we've got a couple visitors on board. Always welcome to the public as well. Lisa, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. So the big, not so big elephant in the room is we need to talk about next year. That's the meat and potatoes of what we're looking at for today. We can come back to the officer elections. Let's go through kind of the housekeeping. I will assume that everybody has had the opportunity to look at minutes from the November meeting, or the regular session that we had. Obviously was the last, and then we did have the work session. So we do need to get approval, it looks like, for the November 3rd, 2021 regular session minute.
Motion to approve the November minutes.
Second.
Awesome. I think we're good to approve those. New business.
Just a minute, Chair, could when they do that, you need to ask all
Oh,
those
I'm
in
sorry.
favor.
All in favor. I realized, Jacqueline, I'm sorry. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. I think I heard everybody there in random.
Yes, thank you.
And then it looks like we can go to new business. We have an applicant for a vacancy here with the Economic Development Committee, which I'm very excited to see. Unfortunately, I did not have a chance to kind of look at the application myself, so I'm going to open it up. And Chris, welcome, and feel free to formally and informally kind of introduce yourself and let us know why you're interested. And you've got our ears for the minute.
Awesome. Thank you so much for letting me be here and for considering me for the vacancy on the board or with the committee right now. I'm Chris Barron. Currently, professionally, my role is I'm the Assistant Vice President, Branch Relationship Manager for Heritage Bank on Hillsborough Main Street. Prior to the closure of the Forest Grove branch, I was a multi-location manager, so I managed Forest Grove, Hillsborough. The last 2 years, I was the board chair for the Forest Grove Cornelius Chamber of Commerce. I also am now a member of the Washington County Chamber of Commerce Finance Committee. So I have a background in banking, about going on 10 years in this industry, background in commercial lending as well as branch management, and then just a huge background in community involvement, whether that's board leadership or board participation committee. Really, this is kind of my fun time, is being in groups like this. I think that's probably why we're all here, is this is the stuff that we're passionate about. And me and my wife bought a house in North Plains back at the end of 2020. So we're residents of the city, and I really wanted to be involved in the place that we live and be part of the leadership discussion for how this city continues to grow.
I love it. Sign them up. What do we- No, thank you for everything and for the synopsis. Obviously, it's great to get to know you through the brief introduction, and sounds like you got a wealth of knowledge and definitely, I think, a useful background that applies very perfectly for what we're trying to do here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be involved in the conversation. Like I said, now it's just time to get back to the place that I bought some land and a house in.
Fantastic. Did you, if you mind me asking, are you part of the new neighborhood or are you up the hill kind of,
No, we're actually, I can see the Chevron gas station from my office right now. So I'm not too
Okay.
far away from, I guess that would be considered Old North Plains.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's one of the stigmas that we've been trying to disband here, Old North Plains versus New North Plains, but appropriately said so.
Yeah. No, we love it. I mean, my wife just got home with my little one. They go to the library at least once a week and are always, bringing home new books to read. My wife's a stay-at-home mom, so they're always walking around the neighborhoods, and so we're excited to see new development coming in. Recently received the notification of the potential new development that's going up in the commercial zoning spot kind of next to the park over here, Veterans Park.
Right.
And so excited to see some movement on that. That's something I've been looking for a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of activity. So, great to have you. Appreciate you, lending your time and willing to volunteer.
Absolutely.
Bill, or I guess I can also ask Trista, have y'all had a chance? I don't know in terms of the application. Do we now push Chris forward to the council, or have y'all had a chance to talk with Chris?
So Chair, you can, if any members have questions for him, this is the time for them to ask, although he covered everything he does beautifully.
Yeah.
If he has any questions about where you guys are, right now, with the EDC, he can do that as well, or he can kind of catch up by reading past minutes and stuff. And then it's just a consensus. Someone needs to say, make the recommendation that we push his appointment through to city council for approval, because council does have to approve it.
Perfect. So at this time, I mean, let's open it back up. Chris, now that we've had an introduction, if you do have questions for the EDC, we have the whole crew here. We also do have ex officio online who can help fill in any gaps that might, need to be said. And then the all knowledgeable Bill Reed as well. So, if you got any questions or interest in terms of what we have been up to and or anything on that topic, feel free to throw it at us.
Yeah, I don't think any questions at this point. My strategy is always to sit back and be a fly on the wall at first and listen and kind of absorb it all in. And at that point, I'll come back probably to next meeting with a lot of questions, but for now, it's definitely the intake and make sure that I absorb it all before start asking questions.
Right on. Before I kind of open it up to the crew, yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, what Chris failed to mention is that he is the banking relationship manager with the city. So when we're trying to figure out how to do something, or we're inundated with building permit fee payments, he's the one that helps put out the fire when there's a fire drill. So thank you, Chris, and it's good to see you here.
Yes, you as well. That's that whole privacy thing. I can't say anything unless the client says so first. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yep. It's all the fun of a city that's going through changes and growing. And Chris has been a great, I will say for the group, Chris has been a great partner and representative for the city as we kind of do a bunch of stuff. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
So let me start with the question for you. I just want to know a little bit more. Maybe you can tell us some of your background with regard to the Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, it's another volunteer organization, and kind of maybe what your involvement was and some of the activities you took place in.
Yeah, so I was brought on to, so my wife and I moved out into this area from Northeast Portland. So when I say we moved, it wasn't that big of a move, just getting away from the Portland scene and moved out into Washington County. This would have been, at this point, 2019. And so I was quickly invited on to be a board member at large. And then there was transition in leadership, staffing changes as well. And at that point, I was asked to consider being the chair of the chamber after being there for about 6 months. So I graciously said, sure. And we transitioned. The biggest challenges that we had over the last couple of years, and I've since resigned. So my term ended back in December, stepping away from the chamber at that point and just saying it's not an area that I'm not really out in that area anymore. I'm not in Forest Grove and Cornelius, and I couldn't feel right, especially with my business leaving that market, to continue on to represent the businesses of that community when it was not, I was no longer a business of that community myself. So I stepped down and let the vice chair move into my presidency, and they're doing pretty great. The biggest challenge that we faced as an organization was staffing changes. Howard Sullivan was the executive director of the chamber for years and announced his retirement right as I was moving into the chair position. And so I was part of the search committee that found the new executive director, with the support of the rest of the executive board and the new executive director. Under our leadership, we were able to secure a city contract to then become the tourism center point for the city of Forest Grove. So that was a big initiative that I pushed through, and we've since, we're awarded that contract, and I've been managing it for the last about year and a half. One of the bigger items that I was spearheading was when Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce announced their change to the Washington County Chamber of Commerce. There was initially a response team from all of the chambers within Washington County as far as how they felt about that change, and I was the co-chair of that committee. So I was working with not just the Forest Grove Cornelius Chamber of Commerce, but then also the Tigard, Beaverton, Sherwood, Wilsonville, and would lead meetings with that organization as far as how to appropriately respond to the changes that were coming down the pipeline from the Hillsborough to now Washington County Chamber of Commerce. So that has definitely been a crash course in, I'd say, politics 101. Lots of people with different opinions, and just being the guy in the room to facilitate the conversation and make sure that everyone feels heard and then also respected. I think when you have a change of that nature, it's scary to other organizations to think that chamber could, encroach on their membership, but that wasn't the intention of the Washington County Chamber at all. I know Deanna Palm, and through conversations with her, just being able to be that voice in the middle of the room, just to say, hey, it's not the scary change that you guys think is happening. They're truly thinking about the businesses within our county and how they can better serve them, and just trying to be the young voice to talk everyone off a ledge and not feel like we had to pick up our pitchforks and go to war. So that was definitely a big challenge. In the years of 2020 and 2021, I was huge in education front for businesses as far as PPP eligibility, SBA EIDL programs, the works as far as what funding and sources were available to businesses. So I would lead PPP workshops and make sure that the business community knew exactly what was available to them and what resources, whether it was at my bank or another institution. And then likewise with the SBA EIDL program, making sure that everyone, well, banks don't actively issue those funds, and that's not a program that's a bank issued program, just making sure that our clients and businesses knew what was available during these times. So leading these community organizations, I think in 2020, 2021 has just, I would say I'm a battle hardened leader at this point.
Right on. I appreciate that. It sounds like you've had some great interactions in a short period of time and had to definitely learn trial by fire, as we would all know and have been through as well. Any other questions?
Appreciate meeting you, Chris, and hearing your background.
Likewise,
And
thank you.
battle tested sounds like it sounds like the cry for the last 2 years, right? Like,
Yes.
who can identify with that?
I think everyone has been given a crash course in crisis management the last 2 years.
Yeah,
we
bring
make
it on.
we make this joke that, there's always, you turn lemons into lemonade, or, putting out fires. We just say that I always have a pack of s'mores now. Or the joke is, I'm nothing but scar tissue at this point, because what have we not experienced in the last couple of years? And so just being able to take those punches as they come and continue to move forward. My strategy has always been to just remain positive, look at what I can control, and make sure that I'm there to support, my community, my clients, and my family.
Anyone else? Chris, I would echo that. I love everything I hear in terms of, your experience and what you've obviously been able to bring to the table with regards to the other volunteer groups and organizations. And it sounds like you're ready to be well rooted here. So I would ask at this point, I mean, it seems pretty logical, but can we get a recommendation to move forward?
Do we need an official motion, Lori? If so, motion to,
Yeah, go ahead. That's
Okay.
the easiest way, just to be sure we're covering it.
okay, so motion to recommend Chris to city council and add him to the committee.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very well. Chris, welcome aboard. It sounds like your next challenge is the big boss. No, you gotta move forward, I believe, and Lori is great at communicating and ensuring that you understand, what's going on and who's going to be there and all that good stuff. But ultimately, I think it's just a little sit down, kind of like what you see here with the city council team. And I would quite frankly just kind of repeat, what you just did in terms of introducing yourself and the introduction. It had everything that I needed to hear in terms of, a community member, somebody at large that we could definitely add value to any type of forum that we have here.
Yep, I've already got you on the council agenda. I knew that you would be approved. That's how sure I was, Chris. So you are on Monday's council agenda. It's under the consent agenda, so technically there doesn't need to be any discussion. It's just a vote. But if you want to be on so they can ask you, brief, that's fine too. So you're pretty much a shoo-in at this point.
Yeah, I would make myself available to be present at the meeting if there's any questions.
Okay, great. I will I'll send an email to confirm that with you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And Lori, just to confirm, all the members on this committee were pretty much a shoo-in, right? We're such a great fit.
That is absolutely correct.
Just
You
wanna
are
cover all our
100%
bases.
correct. Yes. So, I mean, this is a very elite group. There's no two ways about it. So, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you, Eric. That's so good. All right, with that said, I think we can kind of move forward, and it looks like we've either I didn't see another guest, but obviously we welcome folks in the general public, so welcome to the call. Chris, you're welcome to hang out, or feel free to get ready for the next big step that you have. We're going to go over some unfinished business, specifically the EOA updates, and I guess I'll just kind of soft lob over to Bill. Has there been any traction, or has there been movement in that regard? And if so, just nuts and bolts, I guess.
Okay, so the economic opportunities economic opportunities analysis, which is the quick story is that it is the report that is done for our city's comprehensive plan to figure out and document how much and what types of employment land the city needs over a 20-year period. And that will directly inform the UGB expansion study process that's underway and is paused for a little bit, waiting for this to be done. The consultant is still working on it, and I am supposed to see a first full draft of it, hopefully by Friday. So I don't have anything to share with you at all, I guess, at this point. What I would say is right now is that a presentation about it, you getting a copy of it between when it's finished and it's full draft ready, sent or made available to you all, and then we discuss it with the consultant potentially at the next EDC meeting would be my recommendation. It's just that I don't know the full story as to why, you know, why it's delayed in the way it is, but what I can say is that most cities don't go to the extent that we are in terms of coordinating with Business Oregon. We'll be coordinating with the city of Hillsborough on some things. And then there have been a bunch of interviews done by the consultant that I've been in on, and some I haven't been in on, with different industrial brokers, different firms, and a few other stakeholders that are involved in economic development around here. So all of that is to say, I don't have a report yet for you to review. So, but that's the full update.
All right, I'm good with it. Thank you for what you have anyways. We'll look forward, definitely look forward. Obviously, we were kind of just pending everything else that's going on. It's not surprising by any means, obviously, with work is the amount of work available and not the amount of people available to work the work. So that said, downtown plan update. I'm not sure if we had any, I don't think there was any activity in terms of meetings or committees getting together, was there?
There was, and I was out of town, unable to attend. So I'm gonna have to rely on Bill to give us an update, assuming he was there.
I was there. So right now on the city downtown project website, I'm moving my camera. Sorry, it's kind of weird. So the city, Chris, this may be new, I don't know. But the city got a large grant from the Oregon Department of Transportation and Department of Land Conservation and Development to do a downtown plan. And it's the first one that the city's done that's kind of modern and comprehensive in nature in terms of addressing transportation safety, connectivity, as well as land use. So there's maybe some zoning recommendations, there's work being put into what the streetscape should look like, there's work being put into what different properties in the downtown area are currently underutilized and what potential uses could happen there. Not necessarily deciding what's going to happen there, but just looking at what's possible and kind of moving in the direction of doing different things. There was a meeting recently, last week before, it's a blur. But all of the materials that we covered are actually on the city website for the project for the downtown study. We just went over the survey of the community and what they thought of different uses being in downtown, what was needed, the scale of it, you know, housing or dining or all that, that sort of information. And then we talked about some of the potential streetscapes to choose from or get feedback from the committee. And then we talked about different properties and what uses might go on them, potentially different alternatives for them. And all of that is going to go out. We got feedback from the committee or getting feedback still. That all is going to go out in a brand new survey to get public input. And then we're also behind the scenes right now working on some kind of community meeting workshop so people can come and look at this in person, but in a COVID safe way. So tables potentially with kind of presentation or materials on them, and you know, properly spaced, and people can kind of move around like their stations, and maybe a combination of indoors, outdoors. It'll probably happen in April, so we might be able to gamble on, you know, a 10% chance of good weather, but we'll see at least most of it covered. So that's really kind of what happened, and we just kind of got input on what people thought about maybe some housing here, maybe expansion of City Hall over there, those sorts of things.
So what I heard is basically we can go collect the notes and the minutes off of the website right now. It's available if we want to kind of dig into it and see what's going on with the
certainly can. Hopefully we'll be getting a notice about the pending survey. I think it's coming out next 2 or 3 weeks. We're still getting comment from the advisory committee and then folding that into what goes out to the public in a survey. So that's the process.
Cool.
Hey, Bill, I can't remember from November if we discussed, was the initial round of results from the first survey discussed as part of that group as well?
Yes, Eric, at this last meeting, that was a big part of the agenda of discussion.
Okay. And then from there, it'll lead to this next round based on some of that feedback as well as the discussions and whatnot.
Yeah, well, the survey results informed the new information, and that is how to think about maybe new development on underutilized sites, as well as what a new streetscape might look like along Commercial and maybe down Main some. So that first round of input from the public is what's kind of helped form what the committee just reviewed. So it's
Gotcha.
all
Okay.
kind of feeding into each other.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Any other questions regarding the downtown plan update or trying to find the resources? Cool. Moving right along, the EDC roadmap, I think where we left off with the last conversation we had was ultimately we just need to maybe fancy it up and pretty it up a little bit, or potentially try and get it over to Corinne, I believe was her name.
Yes.
Yes, so you don't necessarily need to provide an update for us as to where that's at or whatever, but I think that's where we kind of left off. If there's something needed from us, I guess, let us know.
Will do. Yeah, no, she's been made aware, and she now has the most recent version that you had edited. So I don't have a timeline for when she's going to have a new version of it, but I know she's working on it.
Sure, fair enough. All right. Kind of rolled through that. The usual are attached, the land use and business applications. I don't know if any of y'all nerd out on that stuff, but obviously get info if you like to look at it. So let's circle back up. Again, I don't see anything in terms of public comment in the notes. So we'll go over to talking about nominations for 2022 and moving forward. So as it stands currently, I have run back-to-back terms. I am fully ready to relieve myself of the duties and let somebody else take the reins. And Lisa has been so good and kind to help out as to serve as vice chair. I believe when we first joined on, Jackie has also been vice chair. So that said, slim pickings in terms of folks that are around. So not quite sure where to go from here other than
Are you pointing to Eric?
kinda, yeah, it just depends on how you're set up, I guess.
Yeah. To me, you're
that
pointing up to
wasn't-
the sky there, Gabe, but okay.
Yeah. Are we gonna hand it over to God up there? I guess my first question is, Lisa, if you have any appetite at all to be promoted up to.
No, Eric, I
Okay.
think it would be great. If you would like an opportunity, I would be so supportive of that.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, so
thank you.
what needs to happen is, someone needs to
Is
make a
Jackie
nomination.
needs- Yeah, Jackie, let's pipe up. How about that?
Yeah, we need a nomination of someone to be the chair for the 2022 year.
I nominate Eric Lawson to be the chair for 2022.
I second that.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
I
Any opposed? Oh, Eric.
Hey, great.
Wow,
Oh,
gonna call my mom after this.
You should. You need a moment? We'll let you text right now if you really want
Yeah.
to.
You're supposed to say you're going to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Hey, at least the appointment came with you in the room.
Yeah.
It's true.
Very true.
Um,
I think we renominated Gabe last year when he wasn't here.
That was
It
true.
might have happened that way actually, and I was like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
That said, in all fairness, Lori, I have a question for you. We have a chair elected, and we have a new member who is obviously not a part of the board yet, who's going to go forward. I don't know. Do we wait and potentially is there I guess a probationary period should said person want to join and we want to include them in that nomination?
I honestly don't know of any regulation other than he is not a confirmed member yet. So
Yeah.
if you want to consider him or have him be considered, like as the vice chair or whatever, then you would have to put off that until the next meeting when he's been approved by city council, or you
Yep.
can nominate someone else that's already on the board right now to be the vice chair for the year.
Yeah, so two questions to the committee. One, if somebody is interested, being Lisa or Jackie, obviously shoo in. We would love to put you forward, but if it's something that you would want to consider and open up, and wait maybe another meeting. I guess the other question is, Lori, is there an immediate need like for that position of a vice chair?
I don't believe so now. I mean, we normally do both of them at the January meeting, which we didn't have. So as long as we have a chair in place right now, I think we're okay if you want to wait and do the vice chair at the next meeting.
Chris, I'm sure you can see where this is going.
Well, no, look. So I'm not going to try and pigeonhole Chris by any means. I feel confident that the going to be a part of the committee. I just also want to be, I guess, fair and I feel that it's very important to have the chair obviously in place so that the council and folks externally to the committee can move forward with whatever they need to. But the vice chair, maybe he attends a meeting or two or whatever. I guess I'm just trying to make it fair and leave that opening, even though you've already been vice chair, Jackie has at some point. I will tell you, I don't want to be considered for it. So I guess that's kind of my thought process, just to put it out there for y'all. But Jackie, if you have a desire to step back up, obviously forever hold your peace.
I would do anything to support Eric, and I'd also be happy to go one more month.
Without a vice chair.
Way to cover both bases.
Yeah, very diplomatic.
I'm just
All
not
right,
gonna leave you
let's-
hanging, but I just want you to know
Let's
that.
go. Yeah. Let's go one more month, and that
Sounds
way
good.
there's no checks and balances, and I can go rogue as chairman here.
All right,
Okay,
so
So you're all in agreement. You would like to hold off on nominating and electing the
Yes.
vice chair until the
Yeah.
March meeting. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
yeah, I just think that will just make it easier, and then we can kind of sleep on it, and Eric can get his evil plan together in the meantime and really decide if he wants a cohort.
In all seriousness, is there certain things I wanted to use this time? Are there certain things that you would like to see as chair, vice chair, what have you, or just in our meetings that we want to integrate, whether it's like we have that Google Shared Drive that Chris, we can get you up to speed on next month, probably, where we just kind of share documents. Are there certain things, whether it's sharing out notes or anything that we want to start getting traction on? The past 2 years, 2021 or 2020 felt like a year that was obviously bogged down by a number of things, and then it kind of rolled into last year as well. So I'm hoping this year, fingers crossed, we can start getting traction on things. And so I just wanted to open it up to the group in terms of things you'd like to start doing that would help us kind of gain momentum and keep momentum instead of trying to get momentum. And then I think we put it on the back burner until the next meeting and then we try to get it going again.
I'll throw out two things. So Chris, at least most of us have now at this point taken up an extra role volunteering for something in the city, which I think is fantastic. So I'd say keep that momentum going, that each of the things that we are volunteering for, to try to be active in that and continue to bring feedback to this committee and updates, and maybe hopefully make progress in all of those areas like the urban growth boundary and URA and the downtown improvement. And then the other thing that we've talked about a lot, and it's been hard with the pandemic, is to continue the volunteer, or we talked about being present in activities in the city of North Plains, being, you know, having at least not one of us volunteering or being there at events that the city holds. So I'd like to continue and maybe make that even better this year.
I agree. Those are two really good points. I also think we've talked about guest speakers quite a bit.
Yeah.
So implementing guest speakers, at least maybe a couple throughout the year. It doesn't have to be a monthly thing, I don't think, by any means.
I second that.
I have a question on the front of volunteerism. So I'm part of the Forest Grove Rotary Club. Do we have civic organizations that have a focus on volunteerism and serving the community out here in North Plains that we could partner with? And maybe if there isn't a chapter of Rotary, reach out to one of the other clubs and see if there are folks that are in this area that could establish one to really make sure that the volunteerism kind of just goes. For Lions, I mean, all those groups do. I look at the other communities and what they do, especially during pandemic time. I mean, they were out cleaning up streets, picking up garbage, delivering PPE to businesses, not just the chambers, but those Rotary clubs, the Lions. I see all of them doing that. Knights of Pythia, yes, that's correct.
That's pretty much the only one we have in town that has a solid group other than the chamber. So is the Knights. We don't have Lions, we don't have Rotary or anything like that at this time. And I think it's just because the town's been so small, but with the growth we've had, there's certainly no reason why that shouldn't be looked into.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wow, Eric, sounds like you are hitting the ground running, buddy. Everything I've heard so far, I will second and third it and motion to keep going with it, man.
As part of my campaign platform, so I'm glad it's really working out for me. That all sounds really good. I think we can kind of start with that going into next month in terms of how we can tangibly, make some next steps on some of those. I know we've thrown around a few names for guest speakers, for example, so maybe we can compile a list of people and contact information. We can reach out to them and get the ball rolling on those. Yeah, I think that's a really good start.
Cool.
I'll throw out one more that is kind of something we've had in the background that Bill has suggested the past year, is keeping our eyes open and continue to do research about other communities like ours to get good ideas from what they are doing and bringing that back. So just have that always on the back burner.
Sure. Well, I guess we'll do one more round robin. We've kind of moved a couple of agenda items, pushed them forward for us to kick off the next meeting. And Eric, truly, I genuinely appreciate you stepping up and taking over chair and accepting the nomination. I'll open it up one more time, kind of around the room. Anybody have anything, comments, questions, or anything that think we should probably push on to next agenda as well?
I always like to hear updates on how Glencoe's going. So
yeah.
Have an update.
Well, I will tell you one update from my coaching experience is Sherwood has got a whole lot of money apparently, because we played at their high school yesterday and it is like, I mean, better gymnasium than I've seen in most community colleges. It's like a 4-story school. There was a Titantron. Like, I mean, we would have loved to play games back in my day. All we had was rusty old gyms. Barely had lanterns in the corner.
Glencoe Opportunity area.
Yeah. Maybe we can.
But the high school is
Eric,
great too, to have an update on that.
yeah, maybe we can fundraise for the lowly school programs that are out there at Glencoe High School.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. All righty. That said, I appreciate everybody showing up. Chris, good luck. I appreciate you taking your time. Trista, thank you for being on the call. Bill, to our guests, and then always Lori, I really appreciate all of the help. Bill, go for it.
Okay. Speaking of volunteerism, so I'm gonna put this out there. Sorry, Lori, but we do have a vacancy or vacancies on the city budget committee. We typically have our meeting or meetings, if they go to, in April. So there's a little bit of time between now and then, but there is a vacancy.
There are 2 vacancies.
2 vacancies. Thank you, Lori. We actually have 2 vacancies. So it's made up of all of city council, and then an equal number of at-large residents.
Correct, 7.
know.
Yep.
7 and 7. So what it would be nice if anybody's interested in participating. It's a 4-year commitment, but it's 1 or 2 meetings, usually a year, and they're in April. And this year it's going to be particularly easy because we'll talk about the budget in the 2nd year of a biennial budget. So really, it's just hearing how the first year of the 2-year budget went that's already been approved, talking about any tweaks or updates, and then sort of approving the second half of the 2-year budget that's already been approved. It's more of a formality, but if one of you are interested in participating, you come from the EDC. And so if we talk about making economic development projects more of a priority in the budget, that's the opportunity. So anyway, just putting that out there.
So got a hankering for Excel spreadsheets, or the need for Oracle in your life, I guess, jump on.
What's the process look like to volunteer? Is it just filling out a application?
Yep, just like it is for this board. You just fill out the application, and like I said, Bill did say that these are 4-year terms now that we've gone to the biennial budget. They used to be 3 years. So and it goes, the recommendations go before, or the applications go before city council. So yep.
All right. So once we're offline, Eric's gonna sleep on a spreadsheet and let you know.
I gotta
Yep.
refresh my skills, my formulas.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, just send me a quick email. I can send you the application. Or if you have other questions about it, I can get you more information, although Bill covered it eloquently. So
Thanks, Lori and Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, short and sweet tonight. I appreciate everybody on and everyone who joined the call. Meeting is officially adjourned. Talk to you all next month.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Everybody.